Hi friends, my name's Aaliyah and welcome to my channel, Aaliyah Uncharted. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to be going over the books I'm wanting to read in March, which is essentially my TBR for the Tis the Damn Readathon. This is a readathon being hosted by Drinking by My Shelf and a whole list of other hosts. I'm going to have the announcement video down in the description, so check that out. But essentially, the Tis the Damn Readathon is a Taylor Swift themed readathon, and I am so excited. I love Taylor Swift, and I figured this would be a great way to just revitalize my reading for the month. So the way that they've structured it is they have a kind of bingo board that's shaped like the house from the Lover music video. So you can kind of choose to do a bingo any which way using that. There are also prompts for each of Taylor Swift's 9 albums, and they've made it really easy for anybody to participate who wants to, because they have 3 possible prompts, like 3 prompt choices for each album. There's one based off of the album itself, there's one based off of a song from that album, and then there's one non-reading prompt. So if you don't read a whole lot, you can just do all of the non-reading prompts and you're still participating. It's great. So I'm not going to get into every single possible prompt because that would be very long. So please go check out that announcement video to get all of the details. But let's go ahead and get into what I'm wanting to read for the readathon. I am going to attempt to read 1 book per album, which is possible. We'll see how likely it is, but I am really excited because most of the books I've been really wanting to read lately all fit into one of the prompts anyway, so it's just good all the way around. Anyway, that being said, let's just get into the books I'm planning on reading. The first album is Taylor's self-titled album, Taylor Swift, and the challenge is to read a memoir. The book I chose for this is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doughty. This is a memoir about a mortician. You may know Caitlin Doughty from her pretty popular YouTube channel, Ask a Mortician. I've really enjoyed watching her videos. They're perfect for the morbidly curious, and it's just a whole lot of fun. I love the way that she approaches the whole thing, and so it'll be really fun to read her memoir. It's all about just how she got into the industry, why she decided to make a career out of death. That makes her sound like an assassin, but no, she embalms and stuff. So I'm really excited to read this. I'm, again, not a memoir person, but this is somebody whose life I find fascinating anyway, so I think it should be a good time. Taylor's second album is Fearless, and the challenge for Fearless is to read a book that intimidates you. A lot of books could have applied for this, but the book I chose is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Luis Zafón. This is a book in translation coming out of Spain, and this is particularly intimidating for me because it's historical fiction, which I don't read a whole lot of, and it's also a book that I've owned for a couple years, and so it's just one of those that's started staring at me. I'm finally reading it, and I'm buddy reading it with my friend Abby, which is going to make it a lot more fun. So this is a historical fiction taking place in Barcelona, and this follows a boy who goes to, is it like a cemetery of lost books, or it's something like that, or like a library or something. Anyway, he's supposed to pick a book that he's supposed to love and cherish forever. That is like his assigned book. Great. He reads it. It's called The Shadow of the Wind, and he loves it. So he tries to look up the author's other work, wants to, check out this author, and figures out as he's on the hunt for the author's other books that they're all being routinely destroyed, and he's not entirely sure why. And so the book follows him as he's trying to figure out why all of these authors' books are being destroyed and how he can stop it. That is all I know. That's kind of the gist I get from this. I'm not going to look into it a whole lot more, but it's a book about books, and it's supposed to be excellent. Everybody has been talking about this on the internet for years, so I think it's about time I finally get to it. Taylor's third album is Speak Now, and the prompt is to read either a book in a trilogy or the third book in a series. So for this, I'm going to be reading Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the third book in a trilogy. It works. This is the third book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, the first one being Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and the second being Take a Hint, Danny Brown. I read both of those last year, and I loved them. These are adult contemporary romance novels, and this one in particular is following the last and the youngest Brown sister, Eve Brown. She has dabbled in a lot of different things. She has a lot of interests, but she's never really stuck on anything in particular. She's just kind of moving around constantly, doesn't really commit to any one career path, any one idea for what she wants to do with her life. And her parents are getting kind of sick of it. Somehow she ends up getting a job at this inn as a chef, I think. And her personality really clashes with the owner of the inn. I loved the first 2 books in this series, so I don't doubt I'm going to love this one as well. It should be excellent, and I really cannot wait. This comes out on March 9th, and best believe I'm going to be reading it immediately. Taylor's 4th album was Red, and the prompt for Red is to read a book with Red on the cover, which works out very well because I've been dying to read Murder of Crows by Anne Bishop. This is the 2nd book in the Others series, the first one being Written in Red. And I read Written in Red at the very end of 2020 and I loved it. This is an urban paranormal fantasy series and it is so much fun. The world is kind of centered around these creatures called the Others. Before humans, there were the Others, the Terra Indigene, and the Others are comprised of any paranormal creature you can think of, pretty much. We've got vampires, werewolves, other shapeshifters, etc. The Others and humans do not coexist very well, and they have a very long history of killing each other. So some of the only places where humans and the Others can coexist somewhat civilly is in these places called courtyards. That's where some of these Others will live, and there will be like shops and stuff where they can, you know, trade with humans, etc. Hopefully there's no death. Anyway, we have our main character, Meg, and she is a human, but she's a special human. She is a blood prophet, and blood prophets can give prophecies whenever they spill blood. And so this makes her a very hot commodity. In the first book, we open with her on the run from her captors, trying to make a life for herself because she's been in captivity for as long as she's lived. And she finds herself in one of these courtyards, and in so doing has found a place to make a home and make a family. And it's just so good. This series is so much fun. We've got some serious found family vibes, and I really, really love how the world is created. It's so much fun, and it's definitely a bit more character driven. There's a plot, but it's a slow moving one, and I had so much fun with it last year. So I've been dying to get to this sequel, and the fact that it fit in to this readathon was just brilliant. So I cannot wait to get to this. Taylor's next album was 1989, and the prompt for this is to read a book with a number in the title. And for this, I'm going to be reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first in the Six of Crows duology, and everybody's been talking about this. I've owned the audiobook for this for years because everybody's been talking about this duology for years. But especially right now, I think it's getting a bit of an uptick because the Shadow and Bone series on Netflix is going to be coming out soon. I think the trailer just dropped. And I'm not really interested in the Shadow and Bone trilogy or the Grisha trilogy, but I have been so intrigued by this because it is a heist book. So this follows Kaz Brecker, who's like a super criminal prodigy man, and he has been hired to pull off this elaborate heist. So he has to put together a ragtag crew of other criminals from the underbelly of the city, Ketterdam, to pull off this heist. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. It sounds like a whole lot of fun. I haven't read a heist. I don't know if I've ever read like a strictly heist book. And so it just sounds like a whole lot of fun. And especially with all the new hype, I think I'm ready to finally get on the hype train. So it should be a really good time. The next book is Reputation, and the prompt for this is to read a book that's been highly recommended. And my choice is to read Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. This is a book that's been on my radar for months. I first heard it announced, a long time ago, and it just got released at the end of February, and it is still, I'm still waiting for my physical copy. I'm like waiting with bated breath for it to show up at my door. This is a contemporary new adult, not entirely sure, book about Grace. She is a 28-year-old. She just got her PhD, and she's not really know what to do next. She is your typical overachieving type A Virgo. She normally has all of her shit together, but she kind of finds herself at a weird crossroads, or maybe not even a crossroads. She just doesn't know what her next step is. There are a whole lot of expectations coming from a lot of different directions. Job market isn't great, and so she's like not entirely sure what to do. So getting drunk in Vegas and marrying a woman who she doesn't know is definitely not part of that plan. And yet that's kind of where she finds herself. So I think this book is about her, first of all, meeting her wife and just figuring out what her next steps are. I know this book is very poignant, very relatable, especially for us late 20-somethings who don't know what we're doing with our lives. And I have just been dying to read this ever since it was announced. And so I cannot wait for it to get into my hands, and I cannot wait to read this. It'll definitely be one of the first ones I pick up in the month as soon as I get it. The next album is Lover, and the prompt is to read a 5-star prediction. So a book that you think you're really, really gonna love. And the book I chose for this is Here the Whole Time by Vitor Martins. This originally came out of Brazil, so this is translated from Brazilian Portuguese, and it is also my choice for the Buzzword Reading Challenge for March. The buzzword for March is the word time, so it checks out. This is a young adult male-male romance about our boy Felipe. He is really excited it's summer. He's excited to be able to relax and get out of school and not have people bully him for his weight all the time. So summer is just great, except it gets kind of waylaid when his neighbor Kaio has to stay with them for about 2 weeks, for 15 days, for reasons, I don't know. So he has to stay with them, and this is kind of a bummer because he was wanting this nice, peaceful summer. But it's also a problem because Felipe has had a crush on Kaio for forever, and so he's not sure how he's going to get through 15 days of sharing a room with him. And I have been so excited about this since I heard about it. This was only recently translated into English, and it's just supposed to be so wholesome, so cute. This is just gonna be good. This is gonna be a good time. We're almost done. Next is Folklore, and the prompt is to read a book based on mythology or a retelling. And the book I chose for this is Blanca y Roja by A.M. Macklemore. This is about 2 sisters, Blanca and Roja, and they come from a family where, I don't know if it's every generation there's 2 sisters or just 2 siblings, but either way, one of them is destined to turn into a swan. I don't know if this is a retelling of Swan Lake or the Swan Princess, the Ugly Duckling, any and all of them, stuff with swans. A.M. Macklemore is kind of known for weaving fairy tale retellings into their books, so I figure I'm pretty safe with this. But I'm really excited to get to this. I really love all of A.M. Macklemore's books. Any of their books that I've read, I've just adored, and I really love their lyrical writing. Also, I know that the sister dynamic in this is pretty central, so I really love that as well. All of this to say is I'm very excited to finally get to this. It's been on my bookshelf for way too long, and this is as good an excuse as any to finally pick this up. So lastly, we have Evermore, and the prompt is to surprise yourself. So to pick a random number, use a TBR jar, figure out a book randomly, and that's your book. And I actually did this a couple times to give myself some options, which is technically not what you're supposed to do, but whatever. It doesn't matter because I did a random number generator both online and also used my sister as a random number generator, and I got the same book. So I feel like it's fate. And that book is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Barry. This is I don't know if it's adult or young adult, but it is about a girls' field hockey team who also dabbles in witchcraft. That's honestly the extent I know about this. I heard about this from Kayla at Books and Lala, and she loved it. And it's just supposed to be really weird and a whole lot of fun. So we've got sports, we've got female friendships, we've got witchcraft, and we've got some weird shit. Sounds great to me. I think it also fits that I know hardly anything about my surprise book, so I think we're good on this one. And it should just be a really fun time. I think I'm ready to read something a little weird. Okay, so that is my March TBR, and I'm just so excited about this. Again, most of these books have been already really high up on my TBR list, and I've just been so excited to get to them. So this is the perfect excuse to just read all of the books that I've been dying to read. I'm so excited. I'm counting down till March 1st. But yeah, if you have read any of these books, or if you are also participating in the Tis the Damn Readathon, please talk to me about it down in the comments. I'd love to know what you're reading or what your thoughts have been on any of these books. Because again, I'm stoked. But yeah, if you liked this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.